always been average. Average grades, average job, even average height, 5'9". When COVID came around, it gave me something more. It gave me a chance to look down on people, to be better than them. I felt like a black life. For once, I mattered. And then, like overnight, they started taking the mandates away. The one thing I had, they just took it away.
It freaks them out, and that's why there's all of this geographic sorting.
But we seem to be entering an era of resegregation that's coming from the left.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, on many college campuses, there are separate dorms, separate black dorms, graduation ceremonies, stuff like that. How will that affect elections in the future?
You know, I think there's a great study in North Carolina that showed that, you know, racially integrated schools make people more liberal. But, you know, I think just to go back, I think that the important thing is to just realize that most non-white voters are not liberal. They don't identify as liberal. We should take that really seriously. And I think that when realizing that most voters don't share our values means that we should instead try to meet people where they are with the values that they actually hold, and that we should talk to them about issues that they care about.
Guns. They are symbols of power, weapons of war, centers of controversy. And over the past year, sales have been through the roof. Have you seen an increase in demand?
1,000% increase.
Since the beginning of March last year, the FBI has conducted over 46 million firearm background checks. The National Shooting Sports Foundation found that 40% of those sales were for first-time buyers, and that purchases by Black Americans increased more than any other race, up 56%.
We don't feel safe. Clearly, I know that I am more at risk if I hear something outside and call the police than I am if I take care of it myself.
Rihanna bought a gun last week and is currently in the middle of California's mandatory 10-day waiting period before she picks it up. In the meantime, she is taking her first shot.
Parents do not have the all-encompassing right to raise their child.
The fact that that could be said by anyone, anywhere, anytime, any place, by any American should be concerning to all parents. That point aside, them kids came out my love tunnel. I pay to feed them. I put clothes on their back. That roof is put over their head because of me and their daddy. And the day that someone tries to come and tell me that they have a right in the raising of my children is the day I'll start rocking orange. Fuck around and find out.
They are separating us from our families. They're telling their cult members not to listen to anyone else. Would a cult tell you to silence everyone? Or would a cult tell you, oh, be open-minded, listen to everybody? Which one does a cult do? Does a cult say, no, go talk to your family? You know, they may disagree with you and it's going to be tough, but go talk to your family. And you know what? Love your family. If your family doesn't agree with you, then your family doesn't agree with you, but love them. Is that what a cult does? Or does a cult say, if your family member disagrees, don't invite them to anything anymore. Cut them off. I'm not the extremist. The cult that half of America worships today, those members are the extremists. And it's time we say it out loud without any fear. We are not afraid of, quite honestly, your evil cult. We have God on our side. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that. We remain on God's side, hopefully.
I'm cool with being white supremacist. Is there anyone out here that knows how to dox people?
Clearly, this lady is not very smart. The things people will do for Twitter. It doesn't make you racist because you're proud of your heritage, no matter where it is or what race you're from, whether you're black, white, Hispanic, it doesn't matter. And for those of you who don't know, the Italians and also the Irish have a big culture of being proud of their heritage. The reason why is because they were brutally discriminated against when they first came to America. So don't say just because you're white you can't be discriminated against. It doesn't make any fucking sense whatsoever. Just look through American history. It's not limited to African Americans. We've discriminated against everybody who's came to this country. So please, remember, don't be like her.
Still waiting for liberals to explain where the flu went in 2020, why the global death count didn't change in 2020, why COVID didn't wipe out the homeless population, why billions of healthy people were quarantined for the first time in history, why COVID avoided Africa, why COVID avoided places that didn't lock down, why a piece of fruit and a goat tested positive, why the majority of positive cases at the beginning of the pandemic were people who hadn't left their homes, why COVID was the first virus in history where the majority of people who supposedly had it were asymptomatic, why lockdowns did nothing to slow the spread, why the vaccine did nothing to slow the spread, why we've seen a 1,100% spike in myocarditis in children, why football stadiums were filled with massless people while our children were muzzled in the classroom, why the violent riots of 2020 weren't super spreader events, why the mainstream media doesn't cover the millions of adverse reactions, tens of thousands of deaths reported to VAERS.
So this is a message for the white liberal mob of millennials, mostly on Twitter, whose sole mission in life is to cancel anyone who doesn't conform to their aesthetic for sufficiently woke human discourse. Please fucking stop. You are ruining people's lives because you don't like the tone or the language that they use, or the jokes that they tell, or the words that they use. Consider this advice. I believe it was said by Gandhi. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me.
He wants to be cool so bad.
White people can't experience racism.
That has to be the most ridiculous shit that I've heard all day. You want to be cool so bad. The shit people do these days to get brownie points on Twitter. Like, you're not cool because you said white people don't experience racism. That makes no sense whatsoever.
What's one smell that you cannot stand?
The smell of liberal stupidity. That's right. I went there. Ooh.
April 18th, the Biden administration announced that the Transportation Security Administration will no longer enforce the federal mandate requiring masks in all U.S. airports and on-board aircraft.